Braggart, your post here. Killjoy, this one's for you. B.C. Lightfoot. Bernard, are those your initials? Yeah? Okay, well, I'll just leave that there then. And this one. Yeah. Oh, I'm cordially uninvited to something social. Good. You know, you can at least act disappointed. There is such a thing as being too out there. Well, what do you know? Now sit quietly. I've been given my first video tag. This should be fun. Dear Braggart, we at Zoftig magazine have seen your video review of Single White Female and wholeheartedly embrace your philosophy of no reason nudity. It's very nice of you to send me a Okay, letter. Killjoy, you were right. There is such a thing as being too out there. Now give me that letter. Give it. Oh, God damn it! Zoftig indeed. Hey, howdy hey, and welcome back to Emily's Adventures in Horrorland. Now today I've been asked to do the My Life in Movies video tag, and before we get started on answering questions, I should clarify one thing. I didn't really grow up with horror. The spark was there, obviously, but we just didn't have it in the house for whatever reason, so there is going to be some not horror on this list. I hope that's okay. Let's get on with it. 1. First Steps, the first film you remember seeing as a kid. Apart from all the Scooby-Doo animated ones, the first film I remember seeing was Curly Sue, and it was a version that we'd taped from the TV ourselves using VHS tapes, and that was good in a way because it meant that all the adverts from the 1990s were sort of spliced in between the sections of the film. So it's kind of like a time capsule in a way, watching that. At the time I remember being quite horrified that we'd been stealing movies from the TV, but then my mother sort of reassured my 8-year-old self by saying, well, why do you think they sell blank VHS tapes to begin with? So after that I was fine with it. 2. Teenage crush. Which actor/actress did you have a crush on? One of my earliest crushes was Embeth Davidtz, who I first saw in Matilda as Miss Honey, like most people did, I think. And I also purchased Fallen, the Denzel Washington demon thriller movie, specifically because she was in it. And Ali Sheedy was another one, because she always seemed to play that funny, kooky and still relatable character. She was one of the Brat Pack, in The Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire, and a few others, I'm sure. And I don't know, I liked her. I liked her cheeky grin. Even robots can appreciate how attractive Ali Sheedy is.
Nice software.
3. Bad choices, good outcome. A movie you watched and ended up enjoying even though you wanted to hate it. I was very dubious about Krampus before I saw it because I expected it to be one of those one-note monster movie monsters. The kind of thing where the kid's running around seeing glimpses of Krampo and the parents don't believe him because parents never believe kids in universe, and then the police don't help him and we're supposed to feel glad when these unlikable relatives are eviscerated. That kind of thing. But I was actually pleasantly surprised, and you can watch my review of it if you want to find out why. About Time was another one I didn't expect to like, because romantic comedies. But it's actually more of a time travel comedy drama film than an outright rom-com, so that helps. It is still very pleasant and fluffy and white, for want of a better word, knowing who we're dealing with. Director's Richard Curtis. But yeah, I did end up liking that one as well. I think the presence of Bill Nighy definitely helped with that. He improves everything. 4. First date. When you went on a first date, what movie did you see? I've never had a first movie date, but back in, I think, 2005, there was someone I wanted to take to the pictures, and had they gone with me, it would have been either Harry Potter something something or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the remake, so fun. 5. Home comforts. What movie reminds you of time with your family? Again, we had a lot of home-recorded VHS tapes, so there were ones that we'd see regularly. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, that was every Christmas, obviously. And 1408 was the first horror movie that I was allowed to watch at home. And my family would help me to source tiny little doll's house furniture so that I could make my very own scaled-down version of the hotel room. Happy days. 6. First Heartbreak. What movie really upset or hit you more than you thought? Probably Titanic, and not any of the scenes with Jack and Rose, mind you. I was prepared not to feel sad when one of them died, because of course one of them was going to. I think the image that stuck with me was the elderly couple holding one another in bed and just waiting to drown. That was really sad. I think anything with, people in their twilight years coming to accept their mortality really tends to get me. And there was also the scene in Castaway. You know the scene. They got me to care about a goddamn football. I don't understand. I think it has something to do with the swelling orchestral music in both those scenes. I think that's a very powerful tool in any blockbuster filmmaker's arsenal. 7. Leaving home. What movie was the first you watched without your family? There were films that we would watch at school, either at the end of term or as part of English or drama or music or something like that. But I think my answer for this one is going to be Edward Scissorhands, and I watched that for the first time at a friend's Halloween party, and in-depth discussions were had. Definitely. Back when I was still Tim Burton crazy. Not so much these days. Not so much. 8. Good times. What movie do you watch most and why? I will never get tired of Shawshank. Never. But that one's too obvious, so The History Boys is another favourite of mine, because I'm a bit of an Alan Bennett fan. This one is adapted from the play of the same name, and it's basically about learning to pass exams versus learning for its own sake. I think the characterisation is great, the dialogue is great, interesting, and the one speech by Richard Griffiths about the best moments in reading, that really resonates with me, so yeah, I like it a lot. 9. Learn a new language. What is your fave non-English language movie? I haven't seen a lot of them, but my favourite is probably this one, not least because I got to talk about it for my French oral exam. Bien que le film La Haine contienne les thèmes extrêmement graves et sérieux tels que le racisme, la violence et la culture de la banlieue, j'espère d'examiner les plusieurs moments comiques dans le film. Par exemple, les blagues terribles de Saïd, la scène avec l'homme dans le WC et la vache imaginaire de Vince. It's a very bold film as well as being quite humorous and just an all-round interesting watch. 10. Can't leave the sofa! What series on TV got you hooked? House MD had me hooked for about 5 seasons. I liked Hugh Laurie to begin with, and anything with an element of mystery is really intriguing to me, and House is basically the whodunit of obscure medical conditions. 24 was definitely one of them, the Twilight Zone classic episodes, and Bad Girls that we had on DVD. 11. Sick day. What movie do you watch if you don't feel well to cheer you up? It depends. The last time I was sick I ended up watching Wallace and Gromit, and the time before that it was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The original version this time. I tend not to watch horror when I'm sick because it tends to give me very bad fever dreams. Oh, you do not want to know the things I've seen in my nightmares. 12. Looking to the future. What movies are you looking forward to seeing? I'm very excited to see Life because I saw a trailer for it when I went to see Get Out in the cinemas. And it wasn't a trailer so much as just a single scene on its own. And I'm used to trailers being very highly edited with smash cuts and suspenseful music, and this was just the scene, which I'm not used to seeing in trailers, and it spoke for itself, and it was very suspenseful and very interesting, so I'm looking forward to it. And that's for a sci-fi movie, which is normally a genre I don't care for. Yeah. Oh, and also there's a movie coming out about the making of The Room, or something to do with Tommy Wiseau, so I'll probably see that. 13. If only. What old movie do you want to see remade? Most of the ones I can think of are so good and or iconic that they don't need to be remade, or they've already been done. So, I don't know, The Hills Have Eyes, that's been done. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, been done. The Day of the Triffids, I'm pretty sure that's been redone a couple of times. So it would probably be either The Birds, now that special effects are a lot better, or maybe something like The Night of the Hunter. And probably to fill in Robert Mitchum's role, it would be... I don't know, I'd like to cast somebody against type, so maybe Adrian Brody. I don't think he's been in a villainous role that I'm aware of, so I'd like to see how he does with that. And 14, End of the Road. What 3 films do you think will always enjoy watching? Huh? The History Boys, Hellraiser, and The Shawshank Redemption, all for very different reasons. Shawshank celebrates the glorious might of the human spirit and is pretty close to perfect. The History Boys uses wit to delve into deep and interesting questions on the nature of education and experience in that Alan Bennett style I love. And Hellraiser is flawed, but it's still just a fantastic spectacle of leather-bound butchery and gory latex loveliness. And the music! I love the music so much. I can't help it. And that's all the questions. Thank you to CP of Will I Like It Reviews for tagging me, and I'm going to tag Razor Wire Reviews, assuming you haven't been already, CZ's World, not CZ's World as I've said before, Harrison Califrax, and Random Horror. You have 24 hours. No, you don't. It's fine. It's not binding. Well, that's about it. I hope you liked this video, and as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheerio. Well, Bernard, I don't know what you expected. You cannot write to the NHS asking if they have any organs going spare. Oh, write your own letter of complaint. What is life?